Commander Olivia Summers rubbed her tired eyes and took another sip of coffee. The night shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Most nights, she and her team tracked satellites, logged space debris, and occasionally observed meteor showers. Tonight was different. "Commander, you need to see this," said Eric Peterson, his voice unusually tense. Eric was normally calm, even during surprise military drills. Olivia walked to his station and looked at the screen. "What am I looking at, Peterson?" "Objects, ma'am. Hundreds of them. They just appeared at the edge of our solar system near Pluto's orbit." Eric pointed to a cluster of blips on the radar. "They're moving in perfect formation." Olivia leaned closer. "Natural objects don't move like that. How fast are they traveling?" "That's the thing," Eric said. "They're moving at approximately 1/10 the speed of light. Nothing we know of can move that fast." Olivia felt a chill run down her spine. "Call General Rivera now." Within an hour, the station was buzzing with activity. Scientists, military personnel, and government officials crowded into the main control room. On the large screen at the front of the room, hundreds of objects moved steadily toward Earth. General Maria Rivera stood next to Olivia, her face grim. "What are we looking at, Commander?" "Based on the movement patterns and speed, we believe these are artificial vessels. We count 327 objects in total. They're maintaining perfect formation." Olivia pulled up a new image. "And this is the largest object in the group." The screen showed a massive ship, dwarfing all others around it. The room fell silent. "How big?" the general asked quietly. "Our best estimate puts it at 37 kilometers long, about the size of a small city." Dr. Alan Wright, the head of the newly formed Xenolinguistics Department, spoke up. "Have they responded to any of our signals?" Olivia shook her head. "We've been broadcasting on all frequencies since discovery. No response." General Rivera turned to the government officials. "Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are witnessing humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, and given the size and number of these vessels, we must consider this a potential threat." The President's National Security Advisor nodded. "How long until they reach Earth?" "At their current speed, approximately 72 hours, Olivia replied. The next 3 days were chaos. Governments around the world were notified. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Scientists worked around the clock trying to understand the visitors. News of the approaching fleet leaked to the public, causing a mix of panic, religious fervor, and fascination. Olivia barely slept. She spent most of her time at the monitoring station, watching the fleet, now called the Armada, by the media, as it moved past the orbit of Neptune, then Uranus, then Saturn. "They're not slowing down," she told General Rivera during one of their hourly updates. "If they maintain this speed, they'll reach Earth in exactly 18 hours. The President addressed the world that evening. He stood tall despite the weight on his shoulders. "My fellow citizens of Earth, in the face of this unprecedented situation, the nations of our world have chosen to stand united. We do not know the intentions of our visitors, but we face this moment together as one human family." Military forces took up defensive positions around the globe, knowing full well that their weapons would likely be useless against beings who could travel between stars. Civilians either fled to rural areas or gathered in cities, some throwing end-of-the-world parties while others prayed in churches, mosques, temples, and synagogues. At the Deep Space Monitoring Station, Olivia watched as the Armada crossed the orbit of Mars. The massive ships were now visible through Earth's most powerful telescopes. Their design was like nothing humans had imagined, angular yet somehow fluid, with surfaces that seemed to shift and change even as they watched. "They're beautiful," Eric said quietly. Olivia nodded. "Yes, they are." She turned to Dr. Wright. "Any luck with communications?" The linguist shook his head. "Nothing. It's like they don't even know we're here." Major Devin Carter led a squadron of the newest fighter jets to the edge of Earth's atmosphere, a symbolic gesture of defense, as everyone knew the jets would be useless against such advanced technology. "Command, this is Eagle Leader," Carter reported. "We have visual confirmation of the alien vessels. They're unlike anything I've ever seen. At Mission Control, Lieutenant Wendy Martinez monitored the incoming data. All stations report normal. The Armada is maintaining current velocity. Time to Earth orbit, 47 minutes. The world held its breath. Would the aliens communicate once they reached Earth? Would they attack? The uncertainty was almost worse than knowing. "Wait," Wendy suddenly said, her voice rising with confusion. "Something's wrong with our tracking systems." "Explain," General Rivera demanded. "The Armada has stopped." "No, that's not right." Her fingers moved quickly over her keyboard. "They're gone. All of them. They've disappeared from our sensors." "Check all systems," Olivia ordered, her heart racing. This could be a technical failure, but it wasn't. Every monitoring station on Earth reported the same thing. The entire alien fleet, hundreds of vessels including the massive flagship, had simply vanished. "Did they jump to faster-than-light travel?" someone asked. "No energy signature," another technician reported. "No radiation, no distortion field, nothing." In the stunned silence that followed, General Rivera spoke the question that would haunt humanity. Where did they go? Hours turned into days as every available resource was devoted to solving the mystery. Scans revealed no debris, no evidence of destruction. Space telescopes found no trace of the fleet anywhere in the solar system. It was as if the most powerful armada in the galaxy had been erased from existence. Some people celebrated, believing Earth had been spared. Others worried that something worse was coming. Scientists proposed theories ranging from dimensional shifting to time travel, but none could be proven. 1 week after the disappearance, Olivia stood in her office, staring at the stars through her window. The world had changed forever. Humanity now knew they were not alone in the universe. But instead of answers, they were left with the greatest mystery of all. "Where did you go?" she whispered to the night sky. And more importantly, why were you here in the first place? Little did she know that the answers would come, but not in any way humanity could have predicted. The disappearance of the alien Superfleet was just the beginning of Earth's journey to the stars. 6 months passed since the alien fleet vanished. The world had changed. Countries that once pointed weapons at each other now worked together. The United Nations created a new agency called the Global Space Initiative, GSI, to prepare humanity for possible future alien contact. Commander Olivia Summers now worked at the GSI headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. Her office walls were covered with star charts and photos of the alien ships taken before they disappeared. She studied these images every day, looking for clues that might have been missed. Someone knocked on her door. It was Dr. Alan Wright, now the world's leading expert on potential alien communication. "You wanted to see me, Commander?" he asked. Olivia nodded and pointed to her computer screen. "I found something in the old data, something we missed." Alan pulled up a chair and looked at the screen. Olivia played a recording from the day the aliens vanished. The video showed normal space, then a subtle ripple, almost like heat waves rising from hot pavement. "What am I looking at?" Alan asked. "Watch again," Olivia said. She slowed the video down to 1/10 speed. "See that distortion? It happens exactly 3.7 seconds before the ships disappear." Alan leaned closer. "Some kind of energy field?" "I think so. And it didn't come from the alien ships. It came from somewhere else." This discovery sparked new life into the investigation. Scientists around the world analyzed the strange energy ripple. Meanwhile, the GSI fast-tracked the building of a moon base to get better observation equipment away from Earth's atmosphere. 4 weeks later, Olivia stood in the new lunar observatory alongside GSI Director Keith Montgomery. Through the dome window, Earth looked peaceful and small. "Our latest findings suggest this wasn't just a fleet passing by," Olivia explained. "They came specifically for Earth. Their path wasn't a straight line through our solar system. They adjusted course multiple times to reach us." Director Montgomery frowned. "That makes their disappearance even more concerning. They wanted something from us." "Or they wanted us," Olivia said quietly. "Back on Earth, NASA analyst Ryan Fuller made another discovery. He had been reviewing deep space radio signals from before the aliens appeared. "I found patterns," he told his supervisor. "Very faint signals that started 3 months before the fleet arrived. They were talking to someone and it wasn't us." When this information reached the GSI, it added another piece to the growing puzzle. The aliens didn't just appear randomly. Their arrival had been planned. But by whom? And why did they vanish? 2 months later, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. 12-year-old Sofia Rodriguez was visiting her mother, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, at the Puerto Rico Observatory. While her mother worked, Sofia played with the star mapping software on a spare computer. "Mom," she called out, "the stars look funny." Dr. Rodriguez was about to dismiss her daughter's observation when something caught her eye. Sofia had overlaid star positions from before and after the alien fleet's appearance. Several stars directly in the fleet's path showed tiny shifts in position. The differences were so small that the automated systems hadn't flagged them, but they were real. When this discovery reached Olivia and the GSI team, it changed everything. They didn't disappear, Dr. Jack Nelson concluded after reviewing the star data. They were taken. Something folded space itself and removed them. The implications were enormous. Not only had Earth witnessed one advanced alien civilization, but there might be another, even more powerful one that had intervened. "Are we looking at some kind of interstellar conflict?" Director Montgomery asked during an emergency meeting. "Were we caught in the middle of something?" "It's possible," Olivia replied. "But why here? Why our solar system?" The GSI increased Earth's defensive preparations. New satellites with advanced sensors were launched. The major nations pooled their military resources. Humanity was uniting in the face of the unknown. 1 year after the disappearance, Olivia was working late at the lunar base when alarms blared throughout the facility. "Commander, we have an object approaching," the operations officer reported. "Single vessel, much smaller than the previous fleet, approximately 100 meters in length. Unlike the previous fleet, this vessel decelerated as it approached and took up position in Earth orbit. Its design was completely different, elegant and almost organic in appearance." "Are they broadcasting?" Olivia asked. "Yes, ma'am. They're transmitting in perfect English." The message was simple. "We come to explain. We come to apologize." World leaders gathered at the United Nations headquarters in New York. The single alien vessel remained in orbit, making no aggressive moves. After 3 days of careful communication, they agreed to send a representative to Earth. The landing site was prepared in a remote area of Switzerland. Military forces surrounded the area, though many scientists argued that such precautions were pointless against beings with such advanced technology. Olivia stood beside General Maria Rivera as the alien ship descended silently from the sky. It hovered briefly before touching down gently on the landing pad. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then a door appeared in the smooth hull. A figure emerged. It walked on 2 legs and had 2 arms, but that's where the similarities to humans ended. Its skin seemed to ripple with inner light, changing colors subtly as it moved. Its head had no visible eyes, yet Olivia felt certain it could see everything. The alien raised one hand in what appeared to be a greeting gesture. "I am called Eliara," it said in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I represent the Lumidary Collective. We have watched your world for a very long time." Olivia stepped forward. "What happened to the fleet that came to Earth?" Eliara's skin flickered with blue patterns. "The ships you encountered belong to the Viridian Collective. They have conquered 17 civilizations across this galaxy. Earth was to be their 18th. "And you stopped them?" General Rivera asked. "We removed them from this dimensional plane," Eliara explained. "My people are custodians of this sector of space. We have watched your civilization with great interest. You are not ready for contact, especially not through conquest." The revelation stunned everyone present. Humanity had been protected by an even more advanced civilization that had been silently watching over Earth. "The Viridian threat has been contained," Eliara continued. "But in their attempt to reach you, Your existence has been revealed to others. We can no longer maintain your isolation. Olivia felt a chill run through her body. What does that mean for us? Eliara's skin rippled with patterns of gold and green. It means, Commander Summers, that humanity must prepare. The universe is vast, ancient, and filled with wonders and dangers beyond your imagination. And now, ready or not, you must join us among the stars. The news of Eliara's arrival spread across Earth quickly. Some people welcomed the alien protector, while others remained suspicious. Why had the Luminary waited until now to reveal themselves? Had they been watching humanity for centuries? 1 week after landing, Eliara met with scientists and world leaders at the new GSI headquarters. Commander Olivia Summers sat in the front row, her notebook ready. She had dozens of questions. Eliara's skin glowed softly as she spoke. Your world sits at the edge of what we call a quiet zone, a region of space we have kept isolated from the wider galactic community. We protect developing civilizations until they are ready for contact. How many other civilizations are in this quiet zone? President Eleanor Grant asked. 7 currently, Eliara replied. 3 have achieved spaceflight, though none have yet developed faster than light travel. Dr. Alan Wright leaned forward. And the Viridians? The fleet that came here? How did they find us? Eliara's skin darkened slightly. The Viridians developed a new scanning technology that allowed them to detect your radio and television signals. They have been expanding aggressively for centuries. They seek resources and slaves. The room fell silent at this revelation. Humanity had nearly become slaves to an alien empire. You said you removed them from our dimension, Olivia said. What exactly does that mean? We created what you might call a pocket dimension, Eliara explained. The entire fleet was shifted into this space where they can neither harm others nor escape. General Maria Rivera frowned. That sounds like extremely advanced technology. If you have this power, why do you need to protect anyone? Couldn't you just defeat any threat? Eliara's skin pulsed with red patterns. We are not as powerful as you believe. Creating the dimensional shift required the combined energy of 12 of our largest vessels. It is not something we can do regularly or lightly. Over the next month, Eliara shared limited knowledge about space travel, alien species, and galactic politics. The Luminary would not provide advanced weapons or faster-than-light technology, but they offered medical knowledge and improved energy systems. We cannot simply give you everything, Eliara explained during one meeting. Civilizations must develop at their own pace. Too much knowledge too quickly leads to chaos and often destruction. Many humans were frustrated by these limitations. They wanted all the technology the Luminary possessed. Some governments threatened to stop cooperating unless more was shared. Olivia found herself working as a bridge between the Luminary and humanity. She understood Eliara's concerns but also felt the urgency of Earth's situation. You said we're now exposed to the wider galaxy, Olivia reminded Eliara during a private conversation. How can we defend ourselves with such limited technology? Eliara's skin shifted to a deep blue. The Luminary will maintain a protective presence in your system, but you are right. Earth must advance more quickly now. 3 months after Eliara's arrival, the Luminary provided plans for improved space propulsion. Earth scientists were amazed. The new engines would allow travel throughout the solar system in days rather than months or years. Construction began on Earth's first true space vessel, the ESV Unity. Unlike previous spacecraft, the Unity would be built for both exploration and defense. At 300 meters long, it would be the largest vehicle humans had ever constructed. Dr. Leah Patel led the scientific team working on the Unity. The Luminary technology is amazing, she told Olivia during a tour of the construction facility. But we're not just copying their designs, we're adding our own improvements. This surprised Olivia. Improvements? To alien technology? Leah smiled. Humans are good at finding creative solutions. The Luminary approach is elegant but sometimes overly complex. We've simplified several systems and actually made them more efficient. When Eliara was shown these modifications, Her skin flashed. With bright yellow patterns, an expression of surprise Olivia had learned. Fascinating, Eliara said. We had not considered this approach. Word of humanity's innovations spread among the Lumidari. More of their scientists began visiting Earth to observe and collaborate. They seemed genuinely impressed by human creativity and adaptability. Meanwhile, Olivia and other GSI leaders worried about other threats. If the Viridians found us, others might too, she told Director Montgomery. We need to prepare for all possibilities. The GSI established a new defense division led by Captain Gregory Howard, a former Navy SEAL. We're training for scenarios we can barely imagine, he explained during a briefing. How do you fight enemies who can fold space or travel faster than light? 1 year after Eliara's arrival, something unexpected happened. Humanity's deep space monitors detected a signal coming from the exact coordinates where the Viridian fleet had vanished. It's very weak, Ryan Fuller explained as he showed Olivia the data. But it's definitely coming from that pocket dimension, Eliara described. When Eliara was informed, her reaction was alarming. Her skin turned almost black with rippling red patterns. This should not be possible, she said. The dimensional shift should prevent any signals from escaping. The signal continued for 3 days, then stopped. Analysis showed it contained a mathematical sequence, prime numbers followed by more complex equations. It's a message, Dr. Wright concluded. They're trying to communicate. Eliara called for reinforcements from the Lumidari fleet. 3 more of their ships arrived in Earth orbit within days. Is this really such a serious concern? President Grant asked during an emergency meeting. Yes, Eliara said simply. If the Viridians can send signals from the pocket dimension, they may eventually find a way to escape. We underestimated them. The mood on Earth grew tense. The threat they thought had been eliminated might return. But something else was happening too. A change in how the Lumidari viewed humans. Your species adapts quickly, Eliara told Olivia, as they watched the nearly completed Unity from the lunar observation post. Most civilizations would be paralyzed with fear after learning about the dangers in the galaxy. Instead, you build and prepare. Olivia looked at the elegant alien. Did you expect us to give up? Many would have, Eliara replied. The Lumidari Council believed humans would request relocation to a safer world, or ask us to take full control of your defense. That's not how we operate, Olivia said with a slight smile. Eliara's skin glowed with warm orange tones. No, it is not. And that is why some of us now believe the Viridians' arrival, while dangerous, may have been fortunate. It forced us to reveal ourselves to you sooner than planned. Why is that good? Eliara turned to look directly at Olivia. Because the galaxy is changing, Commander Summers. Ancient balances of power are shifting. The Lumidari have protected the quiet zone for millennia, but our resources are stretched thin. We need allies, not just civilizations, to protect. Olivia felt the weight of these words. Are you saying you want Earth as an ally, not just a protected species? Some of us believe this, yes, Eliara replied. Your creativity, your adaptability, your determination, these qualities are rare and valuable. The Viridians recognized this. That is why they came for you specifically. As the Unity neared completion, Olivia wondered what this meant for Earth's future. Humanity had gone from near conquest to potential galactic ally in just 2 years. The dangers were enormous, but so were the possibilities. And somewhere in a pocket of folded space, the Viridian fleet was still trying to reach them. The ESV Unity gleamed in the sunlight as it orbited Earth. After 18 months of construction, the massive vessel was finally complete. At 300 meters long, it combined Lumidari technology with human innovation. Its engines could reach Mars in just 3 days. Its sensors could detect objects at the edge of the solar system, and its defensive systems, while limited compared to alien vessels, were far beyond anything humans had built before. Captain Gregory Howard stood on the bridge, admiring the view of Earth through the large forward window. As the ship's first commander, he felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. The Unity represented humanity's first real step into the wider galaxy. "Captain, Commander Summers is requesting permission to come aboard," reported Lieutenant Wendy Martinez. "Permission granted," Howard replied. "Have her escorted to the bridge." Olivia arrived 10 minutes later. She had been promoted to the diplomatic branch of the GSI, serving as the primary human contact with the Lumidari. "Impressive ship, Captain," she said, looking around the bridge. "Hard to believe we built this in under 2 years." Howard nodded. The construction teams worked around the clock. Everyone understands what's at stake. What was at stake had become clearer in recent months. The signals from the pocket dimension where the Viridian fleet was trapped had increased in frequency and strength. The Lumidari were concerned, though Eliara tried to hide it. "Has the Unity received its mission orders?" Olivia asked. "This morning," Howard confirmed. "We're to conduct a patrol of the outer solar system, focusing on the area where the Viridian fleet disappeared. The Lumidari vessel Starlight will accompany us." The Starlight was one of 4 Lumidari ships now stationed in Earth's solar system. Unlike Eliara's diplomatic vessel, the Starlight was built for defense. Its captain, Jorium, was one of the Lumidari's most experienced officers. 2 days later, the Unity departed on its first mission. The crew of 120 included the best pilots, scientists, and engineers from nations around the world. Dr. Leah Patel led the science team, eager to test the new sensors she had helped design. As the Unity reached the orbit of Mars, Leah called Captain Howard to the science lab. "We're picking up unusual energy readings," she explained, pointing to her screen. "Similar to what we detected when the Viridian fleet vanished, but much weaker." Howard frowned. "Could it be another dimensional shift forming?" "Possibly," Leah replied. "Or it might be leakage from the existing pocket dimension. I've sent the data to the Starlight for their analysis." The Lumidari response came quickly. The Starlight altered course, moving ahead of the Unity toward the energy disturbance. Captain Jorium's message was brief. "Remain at safe distance, we will investigate." Howard didn't like being sidelined, but the Lumidari ship had superior technology and experience with dimensional phenomena. The Unity followed at a distance, continuing to gather data. 3 hours later, alarms blared throughout the human vessel. "Multiple energy spikes detected," Lieutenant Martinez reported. "The Starlight is sending an urgent message." Jorium's face appeared on the main screen. Unlike Eliara, whose skin showed subtle color changes, Jorium's emotions were clearly visible in the violent rippling of his skin's patterns. "Captain Howard, you must retreat immediately," the Lumidari commander ordered. "The dimensional pocket is becoming unstable. We believe the Viridians are attempting to collapse it from within." Before Howard could respond, a blinding flash lit up space ahead of them. The Unity's sensors went offline momentarily. When they recovered, the data showed a tear in space itself where the pocket dimension had been. "The Starlight is engaging," Martinez reported. "They're firing on something coming through the tear." Through the forward window, Howard and his crew could see energy beams shooting from the Lumidari vessel toward the dimensional tear. Dark shapes were emerging, Viridian ships returning to normal space. "Battle stations," Howard ordered calmly. "Charge all defensive systems and prepare the Unity's main cannon." Olivia rushed to the bridge, her face pale. "Captain, we're not supposed to engage. The Unity wasn't built for direct combat with the Viridians." "We may not have a choice," Howard replied. "Look." On the main screen, they could see the Starlight being hit by multiple energy beams from the emerging Viridian vessels. The Lumidari ship was fighting bravely, but it was outnumbered. "Jorium is calling for reinforcements," Martinez reported, "but the nearest Lumidari vessels are hours away." Howard made his decision. "Plot an intercept course. We're going to help." The Starlight. The Unity moved forward, its engines pushing to maximum speed. As they approached the battle, they could see that 3 Viridian ships had escaped the pocket dimension. They were smaller than the massive city-sized vessel that had led the original fleet, but they were still much larger than the Unity. "Main, cannon charged and ready," reported the weapons officer. Howard nodded. "Target the nearest Viridian vessel and fire." The Unity's main weapon discharged, sending a concentrated beam of energy toward one of the alien ships. The beam struck its target, causing visible damage to the Viridian ship's hull. For a moment, the Viridian vessels seemed confused by the unexpected attack. Then two of them turned toward the Unity. "Evasive maneuvers," Howard ordered as energy. Beams shot toward his ship. The Unity rolled and banked, avoiding most of the Viridian attack. One beam grazed the ship's starboard side, causing minor damage. "Return fire with all available weapons," Howard commanded. As the battle continued, something unexpected happened. The Unity's human crew adapted quickly, finding patterns in the Viridian attack strategies and exploiting them. The human ship was less powerful but more agile, and its crew showed remarkable creativity under pressure. Meanwhile, Dr. Patel made a critical discovery in the science lab. "Captain, I'm detecting a pattern in the dimensional tear. It's not stable, it's fluctuating. If we can hit it with a precisely calibrated energy pulse, we might be able to seal it." "Can our weapons do that?" Howard asked. "Not directly," Patel replied. "But if we work with the starlight, combining our energy signatures in the right way, it might work." Howard immediately contacted Jorium, explaining the plan. The Lumidary captain agreed. As the battle raged on, the Unity and Starlight maneuvered into position. The human and Lumidary ships fired simultaneously, their energy beams converging on the dimensional tear. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the tear began to shrink. "It's working," Patel exclaimed. "The tear is closing." One Viridian ship was caught halfway through the tear as it collapsed. The vessel was severed, half remaining in normal space, half trapped in the pocket dimension. The other Viridian ships that had escaped were still a threat, but without reinforcements they were outnumbered as the Starlight and Unity worked together. After an intense battle, the remaining Viridian vessels were disabled. The combined human and Lumidary crews had won, barely. As the Unity limped back to Earth for repairs, Howard found Olivia on the observation deck. "The Lumidary underestimated us," he said quietly. "They didn't think we could fight the Viridians effectively." Olivia nodded. "Eliara told me Jorium has reported to their council. Apparently the council is quite surprised by our performance." "What happens now?" Howard asked. "Now," Olivia replied, "Earth gets a seat at the table. The Lumidary have invited us to join a formal alliance, not as a protected species, but as equals." Howard looked out at the stars. "Do you think we're ready for that?" Olivia smiled slightly. "Ready or not, we've proven we belong out here. And that's just the beginning." 5 years had passed since the battle with the escaped Viridian ships. Earth had changed beyond what anyone could have imagined. The knowledge shared by the Lumidary, combined with human innovation, had accelerated technology by centuries. Cities now featured clean energy towers that pulled power directly from the atmosphere. New medical treatments cured diseases that were once fatal. And most importantly, humanity had expanded beyond Earth. The Moon now hosted a permanent colony of 5,000 people. Mars had 3 separate research bases with scientists working year-round. And orbiting around Earth were 5 space stations, each larger than the old International Space Station, serving as construction facilities for Earth's growing fleet of spaceships. Commander Olivia Summers, now Admiral Summers, stood in the observation lounge of the GSI headquarters in Geneva. She looked different now. Her hair had streaks of gray, and fine lines marked the corners of her eyes. The past 5 years had been demanding but rewarding. "Admiral, the council is ready for you," her assistant said. Olivia nodded and straightened her uniform before entering the meeting room. Around the large circular table sat the leaders of Earth's new unified government, the Global Alliance. Representatives from every continent worked together to guide humanity's future among the stars. Also at the table were 2 Lumidary, Eliara, who had remained Earth's primary contact, and Taramel, a senior member of the Lumidary Council. "Thank you all for coming," President Eleanor Grant began. "Today we make our final decision about the Viridian threat. For 5 years, the remnants of the Viridian fleet had remained trapped in the pocket dimension, Occasionally, they attempted to break free, but each time the combined forces of Earth and the Lumidari had sealed the tiers in space. However, these attempts were growing more frequent and more powerful. "The dimensional pocket is breaking down," Taramel explained, his skin shifting with patterns of deep blue concern. "Our scientists estimate it will collapse completely within 3 months. When that happens, all remaining Viridian ships will return to normal space." "How many ships are we talking about?" asked General Maria Rivera. "Approximately 200. "Vessels," Iliara replied, "including their flagship." The room fell silent. Despite their progress, Earth was not prepared to face such a large force. "What are our options?" President Grant asked. Admiral Summers stepped forward. "We've been working with Lumidari scientists on a solution. Dr. Patel, please explain." Dr. Leah Patel, now the head of the GSI's Science Division, activated a holographic display in the center of the table. It showed a 3D model of the dimensional pocket and the space around it. "We can't prevent the pocket dimension from collapsing," Patel explained, "but we can control where and when it collapses. Essentially, we can choose the battlefield." The display shifted to show a star system far from Earth. "This is the Helios system. It has no habitable planets and sits at a strategic location between Lumidari space and 3 other allied systems. If we can force the pocket dimension to collapse here, we can trap the Viridians between 5 different defense fleets." "Can we do this safely?" the European representative asked. "Moving a dimensional pocket sounds risky." "It is," Taramel admitted. "But the alternative is waiting for the pocket to collapse naturally, possibly in Earth's solar system." After hours of discussion, the Council approved the plan. The next 3 weeks were a flurry of activity as Earth and Lumidari forces prepared. Ships from 3 other allied species joined the operation, creating the largest fleet ever assembled in this part of the galaxy. The Unity, now upgraded and serving as the flagship of Earth's fleet, would play a crucial role. Captain Gregory Howard, promoted to fleet commander, would lead 12 Earth vessels in the operation. The day before the fleet departed, Olivia visited the Unity to speak with Howard. "Nervous?" she asked as they walked through the ship's expanded corridors. Howard shook his head. "Focused. The Viridians won't expect us to be waiting for them. Our ships have improved dramatically since our last encounter." "True," Olivia agreed, "but so have theirs, most likely. They've had 5 years to prepare inside that pocket. Which is why we can't wait any longer," Howard replied. "Better to face them on our terms than theirs." The next day, Earth's fleet departed alongside their alien allies. The Unity led the human ships through a Lumidari-created portal that allowed them to travel vast distances instantly, a technology the Lumidari had only recently shared with their new allies. They emerged in the Helios system, joining ships from 4 other civilizations. In total, 76 vessels positioned themselves in a carefully planned formation. At the center of their formation was the dimensional pocket, now safely relocated from Earth's solar system to this empty region of space. "All ships report ready," Lieutenant Martinez informed Howard from her station on the Unity's bridge. Howard nodded. "Begin the collapse sequence." Specially designed energy beams fired from 20 ships simultaneously, hitting the dimensional pocket at precise coordinates. The pocket began to shrink, exactly as planned. But then something unexpected happened. "Energy surge from within the pocket," Dr. Patel reported from the science station. "The Viridians are accelerating the collapse." Before anyone could react, the dimensional pocket burst open. Viridian ships poured out, not in a disorganized rush as expected, but in a perfect battle formation. They had anticipated the trap. "All ships engage," Howard ordered as the Unity moved forward to meet the threat. The battle that followed was unlike anything humans had ever experienced. Energy weapons lit up the darkness of space. Ships maneuvered at incredible speeds, firing and dodging. The Unity found itself facing 3 Viridian cruisers simultaneously. What the Viridians hadn't expected, however, was how much humans had learned. Earth's ships were no longer just copied Lumidari technology. They contained unique innovations that surprised even their allies. The Unity deployed a new weapon, quantum disruptors that targeted the Viridian's energy shields with precisely calibrated frequencies, causing them to flicker and fail. Other human ships released swarms of small automated drones that confused Viridian targeting systems. As the battle raged on, Howard noticed something. They're protecting their flagship too much. All of their maneuvers are designed to keep us away from it. Why would they do that, Patel wondered. Unless, Howard reached the same conclusion. Unless there's something on that ship they can't lose. All Earth vessels focus fire on the enemy flagship. Target its engines only. We want to disable it, not destroy it. The human fleet executed the new orders perfectly, slipping through gaps in the Viridian defense to target the massive flagship. When the first engine was hit, the entire Viridian fleet's formation faltered. They're linked somehow, Patel realized. The flagship is controlling the other ships. With this knowledge, the Allied fleet concentrated their attack. When the flagship was finally disabled, the remaining Viridian vessels became disorganized and were quickly contained. Hours later, with the battle won, Howard and representatives from the Allied species boarded the Viridian flagship. In its central chamber, they discovered the truth. A massive quantum computer that controlled the entire fleet. The Viridians had sacrificed their individual control for greater efficiency. This explains why they disappeared without a trace, Howard said. The Lumidari didn't capture a fleet of individual ships. They captured a single entity with many bodies. As the Allied forces secured their victory, Admiral Summers received the report back on Earth. She smiled as she read Howard's final words. The Viridian threat is neutralized, and in the process, humanity has proven itself not just as survivors, but as innovators and warriors worthy of our place among the stars. This is not the end of our journey. It's just the beginning.